Spring practice is cranking up all over the country, and we like to dish the latest whispers and intel that we're getting as we keep our ear to the ground. I want to start in Oklahoma. I am paying attention to a name here. It's not Taylor Wine. Taylor Wine is a guy that I think will be an impact player on the edge for Oklahoma this year. Across from him, elsewhere on that Oklahoma front, PJ Adebawore, I say his last name very quickly because there's never really been clarification my way as to how to pronounce it, so I kind of call him PJ, but he is really important here. And the more you listen to people or you talk yourself to people around Oklahoma, the more you realize, hey, man, they're losing guys. Like, they're losing some really, really good players, but this is Brent Venables. This is a Brent Venables defense. They got a really, really good talent acquisition infrastructure out there that this is the kind of place now that can do what Ohio State did last year, which is lose a bunch of production to the draft and kind of seemingly get better. Now, it'd be tough to be better than Oklahoma was last year, but when I've started to talk about expectations with Oklahoma this year, I've tried to play it conservatively. Here's what that sounds like. Let's just get a top 20 defense out of Oklahoma. Well, that's a conservative approach, but that's not how they feel. They feel they could be top 10 again. And then you add in, we got John Mateer back. We got Isaac Sategna, but also Trell Harris, Parker Livingstone, which, by the way, are a couple of really, really important wide receiver portal additions. I would be interested to see how the depth emerges at wide receiver beyond that. But anyway, you start putting together the formula for Oklahoma football this year, and I keep going back to PJA. Because if he pans out and becomes the pass rush presence that they hope he can be, and with fingers crossed that I think he can be, then they're going to be a really, really hard out again this year. You may remember him. He was in the portal for like 2 nanoseconds, and then he was out. And that caused a day's worth of freak out on the message boards. But Oklahoma is a team that to pay very close attention to. I know that they made the playoff last year, and because they couldn't run the ball and because they gave up a big lead at home, people kind of look at them and they dismiss them. Don't dismiss them. Over-under at FanDuel, 7.5 wins. Again, I think that's low for the second consecutive year. I've already put my money where my mouth is on that particular matter. Virginia Tech, James Franklin country. It's Franklin time. Ethan Grunkmeyer came with him from Penn State to Blacksburg to presumably take over the QB1 role. Now, that's not sorted out just yet. I mean, they started spring practice a couple of days ago. Grunkmeyer leading drills. We assumed he would. Now, my question here is kind of the opposite of the way it normally works at the quarterback position. Normally, you start spring ball, and there's a quarterback battle, then it works itself out. Now, these are not James Franklin's words. What I'm about to say are my words and my words alone. I think the competition has to create itself there. Not in practice. I don't mean there isn't competition in practice. I mean, until further notice, I'm just going to assume Grunkmeyer's the starting quarterback there. Again, these are my words, not theirs. And then if Bryce Baker, his North Carolina transfer, wants to challenge him, then you'll start to pick up a little bit of that vibe as spring ball goes on and you get a couple of scrimmages under your belt, and it'll sound like this. Hey, man, this quarterback battle's not quite as decided as we thought it was going to be. Boy, Bryce Baker, 3rd or 4th consecutive day, really, really looked good in 7-on-7, and the observation periods we had. You know what those headlines start to feel like when you got a legit quarterback battle on your hands. I just want to see if one forms there. And until further notice, my personal stance is Ethan Grunkmeyer's the guy. At Oregon, I feel like we hadn't zoomed in on this wide receiver situation enough at Oregon. We've talked about the wide receiver situation, but thus far, when I have talked about wide receiver at Oregon, it's been, oh, man, they're going to get Evan Stewart back. That's wonderful. Oh, Corey Moore, man, he's a monster. Yes, true and true. Those are 2 players. Normally you got more than 2 on the field. And past those names, Jeremiah McClellan is one that we should be talking about more. They're talking about him a lot out of spring practice up there. But past him, and this is why this could end up being one of the best receiver rooms in the country, because past those players, Iverson Hooks, Gatlin Blair, a couple of potential impact freshmen, They really could, if they shake that receiver room and all the little marbles fall into their respective slots, that could be a really, really potent receiver room past just a couple of names. The wide receiver room there, and of course the DB room, specifically the cornerback position. On the perimeter, no matter if it's offense or defense on the field, Oregon will be tough to match this upcoming year. Now, the follow-up to that is, of course, as is the case every year, we're going to have something to circle here. With them, it's offensive line. It's early in spring ball, not a ton of buzz, one way or the other, on offensive line. That's what we're listening for. Rumor on the street is we'll even head up there later in the spring. That's rumor on the street. We'll see. What about Michigan? Hey, do me one favor right here. Look down. Are you subscribed to the channel? If you are, thank you. If you're not, please click subscribe. It helps us keep the show free and free of corporate interference. All right, that's it for me. Back to the clip. Of course, the headline's pretty clear at Michigan. How's Bryce Underwood looking? Well, they made him an offensive team captain, so there's that. That's some healthy intel. It's not privileged. It's kind of public. Everyone knows about it. Look at his wide receiver core. All right, so Andrew Marsh is there, yes. But also Jamie French, former Texas player, is there. J.J. Buchanan is there. It's a new offense, so he's 2 systems in 2 years, talking about Underwood. The world was expected of him the moment he got on campus. And so that's something to keep an eye on. Again, it's kind of early. But the other thing that I'm watching with Michigan is linebacker. I trust Trey Bowles. Beyond him, I am very interested to see how that whole room shakes out. Because when you think about a Kyle Whittingham team and just Michigan football in general, that's a position room that just stands out usually. It's not one with a giant negative, a red minus sign next to it, which is not what I'm saying it is. See, a question mark's not negative or positive. It's a question. And they got a little bit of a portal infusion in that room, so interested to see how that turns out. But the general scope of things, the general vibe of things that I have around Michigan is this is not a place that has to wait to win. This is not a place that you get your new head coach in there. Let's get a nice solid 8-win campaign under our belt, maybe 9 if we're lucky. Maybe the way it works out, but it doesn't have to work out that way. Michigan could win the Big Ten this year. Michigan can make the playoff this year with or without winning the Big Ten. They could. They could go 6-6 too. I'm just saying the ceiling on this thing doesn't have to be 9 wins because they got plenty good enough players up there. What about Arizona State? They got 2 wide receivers out of the portal. I'm going to say this again because you may want to clip this later, Perez. Arizona State got a couple of receivers out of the portal, Reed Harris, Omarion Miller. Those guys came from Boston College and Colorado, respectively. It would not surprise me by Halloween if we're looking at that combo as sort of setting the pace in the Big 12 as a wide receiver duo. They could be really, really good. Now, outside of just the receiver duo there, we're looking at the quarterback battle. Cutter Boley out of Kentucky. Mikey Keene's there out of Michigan. I know you got to go through your flashcards, your portal quarterback transfer flashcards, and they're running in that order so far. Cutter Boley, until I see otherwise, I'm going to assume he wins that job. Sounds like size and length are something that, well, everyone focuses on. They focused on it, and it's noticeable. Talking to some people around their practice so far, circle Martell Hughes at linebacker. That's just a name. It's always fun when we have a Big 12 team in the middle of October and some guy's playing out of his mind and we just randomly pull a clip from March. Because there are about half a dozen I told you so's per year that are more than erased by the whiffs we have. See DJ Lagway quarterback ranking last year. But still makes me feel good.